Okay, we're back after it again. Sorry it's been so long since I've shot any video, but I've been a rather busy boy. Today we're located at 2 Indy Way State Park here in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. And if you'll bear with me, I'll get to the point as quick as I can. But on Father's Day, I had an interesting conversation with a young lady, and she told me about a recent backpacking trip she took to Glacier National Park. And they were very concerned about the threat of grizzly bears there. And she had mentioned that a member of her party, I believe it was a male, they were armed, and how she was very relieved that that person was armed. And but it was very obvious to me that she was unwilling to be armed herself and undergo any sort of training, but she was very happy that someone else did. And I pondered on that conversation for a long time after that, and I think it's indicative of a problem that we have in our society today. We've kind of outsourced our responsibilities. We have a God-given right in the Bill of Rights called the Second Amendment. And the Second Amendment is the particular right that all the other rights hang by. For without the Second Amendment, there is no enforcement of any other of our natural rights. We need to, as Americans, take responsibility for our own personal security. I think that the term first responders is misguided, because we are our own first responders. Any doubts about that should be cleared up in the horrific tragedy that occurred in Uvalde, Texas, at that particular school shooting. It took the police over an hour to actually intervene and stop that shooter. That right there pretty much drives it home that you have to be willing and able to defend yourself. I've seen this so often, too often, on the part of many Americans, and I'm sorry to say that it seems that the most highly educated among us are among the worst ones. They just feel like that it's almost beneath them to be concerned about such things, and somehow they were meant for a higher purpose, if you could call it that, but I don't know. I know of very few purposes higher than defending yourself or your loved ones. I think it's your duty. I think it's an indication how the country has devolved into immorality, and I believe a lot of these things are cultural issues. If you notice with the school shootings and with the recent overturning of Roe versus Wade, you hear a lot said about rights, people demanding their rights, but you don't hear anything being said about people taking responsibility. And I think that's where a lot of the problem lies within our culture. Too many people are under the belief that these things are supposed to be taken care of by someone else, and they're supposed to be able to allow to continue in their delusions of security. You are not promised any kind of safety or security or anything like that. That's why the Second Amendment exists. There are all kinds of opportunities here in the United States to get training, but all you have to do is go do it. But see, there's the rub. People don't want to go through the effort to do it. They're too addicted to their comfort, being physically fit, and being proficient with weapons, in my opinion, are our duty as American citizens. As I said before, we are our own first responders. The more information that is released about the Uvalde shooting, it just highlights the things that are going wrong in the country. In particular, at the very beginning, there was an officer that had spotted the gunman before he even went into the school. He had the gunman in his sights. He could have taken the shot, but he hesitated because he was waiting for permission to shoot. That should have never happened. He should have just taken the shot. But in this society, we are so programmed, either by, state and local authorities, your employers, or whatever, we've devolved into a society of mindless robots, that we are just awaiting orders, and we do not want to take the responsibility upon ourselves. Any thinking person should have known that that gunman, armed with the semi-automatic rifles and being kitted up the way he was, he should have known that the guy was up to no good. He should have taken the shot. He could have spared so many lives, but he waited. We have to train ourselves to be ready at all times to answer these threats. When I was a young man, it was commonplace to see gun racks in the back of pickup trucks, and most of the time there were guns in those racks. And we never thought anything about committing such a horrific act as what was committed in Uvalde and the other shootings we've had around the country. Nobody thought like that we know of. The AR-15, the rifle platform that has come under a lot of scrutiny here lately, that particular platform's been around since the Vietnam era, when the M16 first came onto the scene, and it was never an issue back then. So, having said that, a rifle platform that has been around since the Vietnam era, what has changed? The rifle hasn't changed much. I mean, it's evolved a little bit over time, but it's still, all the basics are still there. It's the deterioration of morals and values in this country. I've been thinking about the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, and something that I have not heard addressed is, how does an 18-year-old kid get the money to buy all the firearms and the kit that he used when he committed that horrific act? A Daniel Defense rifle alone cost $2,000. The Ruger MP Sporter cost another $800 to $900. So the rifles alone would have set him back about $3,000. When you add the cost of magazines, ammunition, optics, if he was wearing a plate carrier or a chest rig, I don't know, If he had a sidearm, I don't know. But where does an 18-year-old kid get the money to buy all of that? Was this kid an entrepreneur? Was he independently wealthy? I doubt it. More than likely, mommy gave him a credit card or something like that. I believe those questions should not be overlooked. When I was a kid growing up, there was a small but powerful word that was a part of our daily lives that our parents told to us, and that word was no. That word was enforced by corporal punishment. There were no timeouts. You obeyed your parents. Your parents had clear standards for your behavior, and they enforced those standards. I'm not saying that's the answer to all the world's problems, but that, I believe that the data is in as far as the differences in the generations goes, and I believe that is part of the problem. We've lost our morality. There are seemingly no consequences to our actions, only until it's too late, only after a young man has lost his life, and several young kids at the school. It was a tragedy all the way around. Well, I'll end on that note, and I thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.